for the last several years. These items that are being proposed to be sold are the electronic voting machines that never really worked upon its purchase by the Board of Elections several years ago. We have been storing them in a warehouse. Naturally, they are just sitting there collecting dust. It's roughly the dollar amount, if you look at the breakdown. I don't know if my colleagues have a copy of this list, but it's well over $20 million. I find it quite humorous that this never makes the front page of the Plain Dealer. I guess having friends in the right places counts for something. Yet somebody that got a $15 Christmas gift from their employees makes the front page on Christmas Day. But $20 million of wasted taxpayers' money that we know was not a good purchase, possibly could have been some indicating contract steering. Corruption in county government never sees the print for this particular item, maybe because the right people were involved with the purchase of this particular property for the county taxpayers. I just am appalled that nothing has ever been done. Nobody investigates this, and obviously the FBI and the U.S. Attorney's Office are busy looking at reference letters and things of those important magnitude when these kinds of millions of dollars were squandered away, contracts shredded, our county prosecutor and hiring outside legal counsel to litigate and spending additional dollars to try to be reimbursed money for the taxpayers with regard to this terrible and fraudulent purchase of equipment. I am opposed to the fact that we are not putting any dollar amount on it so that any other government can come in and for a matter of $1 just so that we can get rid of this $20 million of loss, and so nobody has to be able to talk about it again, especially me, Laura Johnson, since I've always been a critic of this particular purchase from the beginning of time. I think that I would rather see us, the Board of Commissioners, have the responsibility of approving any sale of this particular item or items that are being asked of us to be considered today, so that it doesn't get lost in the light of day, so that people can actually once again see the amount of money we are going to lose on this particular venture, well over the money that we've been talking about have been involved with county corruption here in Cuyahoga County. But this, again, doesn't make any type of public exposure of any wrongdoing or any malfeasance. Yet our Ameritrust property constantly is in the news about our bad decision, which we now retain as a viable asset for the future of this county, which will one day become a productive, developable piece of property that the taxpayers will benefit from in the future. If not, the county government, again, picking up the charge of maybe relocating there in the future because of the large county government we will have after January 1st, 2011, the number of people that will be involved. They're going to probably need a bigger space to house the county government in the future. So I would like to ask Mr. President, Commissioner Hagan, that normally we don't see these kinds of sales of surplus property come back before the Board of County Commissioners. This would be handled basically by the Board of Elections, and we would never hear about it again. Probably sold for a minimal dollar amount. The machines will be benefiting other counties or maybe other countries at the taxpayers' loss here in Cuyahoga County, again, of over $20 million. The dollar amounts are on the paper. Did you have this, Laura Johnson, in case you want to write a story about it tomorrow? If not, I'll be glad to give you a copy so you don't miss the information or the facts for a change on it. I want to make sure that we have it in a public meeting, that we make sure that the people of this community, all of our good friends in law enforcement who are monitoring our daily activities here in county government, understand what kind of loss we're going to take on this purchase from back in 06 and 07. And if we want to authorize it again without any minimum, I'd like to establish a minimum, but I'm understanding we don't do that. But if we're not going to establish a minimum, then, Mr. President, Commissioner Hagan, I'd like to see this come back in front of us for acceptance of any kind of sale on these particular items from the Board of Elections on this agenda item today on number 18. So again, we could have a public discussion about the sale if we believe it to be beneficial to the taxpayers of Cuyahoga County in the future.